What's up, everybody? We are the Anti-Villains, and we are here today to review the hottest supervillain movie of the summer, The Suicide Squad. I am here with my co-host, Aaron Martez. But before we get started, do the channel a quick favor and like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and also helps us find people just like you guys watching this show. This is a spoiler review for the Suicide Squad. So if you haven't saw the movie, go see our non-spoiler review we posted before this. But we will have heavy spoilers, and we are telling you right now. So we're also going to go through Easter eggs and everything else within the movies. So stay tuned for that. Do you guys think that the movie was good?
Absolutely. I loved it.
You did?
No, it was great. It was actually great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was great. I think it was a good movie. As far as like I said in the non-spoiler review, I had to remind myself that this isn't a superhero movie. That this is a movie about a bunch of anti-heroes or supervillains that are made to do anything possible or to go on a mission and do anything possible to complete it. So. And we can just start there, man. They killed off everybody at the beginning.
Let's, let,
Everybody,
let's
yeah,
specify. They killed Team
yeah,
A.
Team
yeah,
A.
yeah. Team A.
And
Alpha
where's my
Team.
roses? When we did the
Yes,
trailer, where's my
yes,
roses?
yes, yeah. We
Drip them
knew
on
that
them. Drop
they
the
were going to
roses
kill
on them.
most of the people. They weren't going to hold all those people within in the whole movie.
And I was joking when I said they were going to wipe out Pete Davidson first.
Hey, shot. Just so
Yeah,
you know, if you a Pete Davidson fan, this is not the movie for you because
mm-mm,
his face don't be a face.
no.
I say
Yeah.
first because the after credit scene shows that Pete Davidson was first.
Pete
Because
Davidson was the
the
first
first
to die.
person wasn't dead. Poor Weasel.
Yeah, so they basically got everybody together and they put a whole fake team or team A together, which was
Team A.
Weasel, what
Javelin,
Javelin,
Boomerang,
Boomerang. Rick Flag was part of that team too.
TDK,
Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
Harley Quinn,
TDK and
PDK.
Harley Quinn and the Weasel. So they had them go after in
Oh, and
which
Mongal.
Mongo.
yeah, Mongo. They had them going on the mission to actually go and the mission was called Mission Starfish or whatever it was called. They're basically going after um, the main villain who was Starro, right? Right. So they sent Team A to go after them to go and destroy everything before Starro got out or the secrets got out. Well, it didn't go well. They basically rushed in and went against the military, and Team A basically got obliterated. But
Yeah,
not only by themselves or by the other team because they got ambushed, or by the enemies because they got ambushed. But they basically did things to themselves to destroy themselves.
let me interject here. It
Yeah.
did go well for Amanda Waller. That was her whole
Yes.
plan.
But also, Pete Davidson is part of the reason why that went south because he
Mhm.
tried to double cross everybody, have his own
Yes.
deal, and he's
Mhm.
like, "It's me. I'm the one who set this up," and you got your fucking face blew off.
Yes. Exactly.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, first, another thing that's not really a spoiler, but this movie's rating is what it is for a reason.
Yeah. It's rated R.
They
No kids
do
watch.
not shy away. Do not take your kids. Oh, mommy, I want to see Suicide Squad. That's a mistake.
No,
I gave you
they're
warning in the non-spoiler review. This is Tarantino-esque. Very
yes,
Tarantino-esque.
yes, and I think too that this movie had too much blood in it. That's why they used the flowers for the Harley Quinn scene when she went in and shot and did all of that, shot all those people for the for to get out. They started using flowers in the background and flowers for the blood because I think
Got to
for
be
the keep it
creative
rated
sometimes.
R for that
Actually,
keep it rated R they had actually had to
ask the
take
Harley
out some
Quinn
of that.
expert. That's an Easter egg. That's what goes
Oh,
through her mind
Yeah,
when she does this stuff.
she
She
created it
thinks
all.
it's
okay.
beautiful.
It's beautiful,
That
Mm-hmm.
beautiful massacre, beautiful
mhm.
Gotcha.
chaos.
Mm-hmm.
See, and it is as a from a directorial standpoint, it is a creative way to save your rating.
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino, he just was like, okay, I'm gonna turn everything black and white in this
Black and
scene.
white. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
if you know your character's crazy and this is what she sees in her mind, okay, well, let's
Mm-hmm.
save ourselves an NC-17 rating and just
Right.
show what she's actually seeing, and
Right.
it's genius, So
Yes.
James
Yeah.
Gunn is a genius.
Right.
Can we say that this is one of the best hand-to-hand combat scenes so far this year before she picked up the weapons?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Please and thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Hitting somebody with a triangle choke while hanging from,
Yes.
your
Yes.
cuffs and
Mm-hmm.
getting down like Harleen Quinzel does.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. None of the shaky cam, none of that
Mm-hmm.
Born identity screen and
Mm-hmm.
now they on the ground. No, you
Mm-hmm.
see it and it's visceral and it's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. As
They
it
slow
should
it
be.
down. They
Slow
slow
it
it
down.
down when they have to. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yep, and
Yeah.
rewinding right back to the beginning, the way it's played, everything is played straight and it's played in a way that it doesn't spoon feed you right from the beginning. As the
Mm-hmm.
movie starts, you're actually following Savant, and it seems
Mm-hmm.
like Savant's going to be one of the main characters. That's the first person they go get in jail. They're walking
Mm-hmm.
through the prison. You see Calendar Man
Mm-hmm. Calendar Man. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
with the
Mm-hmm.
damn like he's supposed to with the months on his head. You see
Mm-hmm.
Easter eggs that go pick up everybody for the team, and then you
Mm-hmm.
follow Savant to the island, and then everybody starts dying.
Mm-hmm.
And Savant tries to leave, and Waller
Mhm.
blows his fucking head off. So immediately subverting the expectations. Oh, I thought Savant was who we were following. Then they kill
Mhm.
him. Then the
Mhm.
second team shows up on there, and you realize, no, this is who we're actually following.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
subverting the expectation right from the beginning, even with the capture of Harley and Flag. We have no idea at this point that these are the rebels who've captured Flag, and this is the government of this country who's captured Harley. We think they're
Right.
both screwed.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
until later on that you see what actually happens when Team B, really the real team,
Yeah.
with Bloodsport and Peacemaker
Yeah. Bloodsport,
and
Peacemaker, King Shark,
King
Polka
Shark,
Dot Man,
Polka Dot
Ratcatcher
Man.
2. Yeah.
Catcher
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's Team B.
the greatest team of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Team B was the need to know team, and
Real
they didn't
team.
need to know about Team A. They needed to follow that
Mhm.
mission. Because
Yep.
at the beginning, where everything went straight to crap with Mongo grabbing the helicopter and chopping everyone up, that's where Jacob said it got too bloody, which I kind of agree. I did not expect that much blood, but I kind
They,
of knew it was coming with the helicopter and
they
Flag
let
saying,
you
"Don't do that."
they let you know right from the beginning this is not a kids super movie, and it's also not the last movie. We're not shying away from none of that. But this is what this team is for. They call it the Suicide Squad for a reason. Mongel mows down everybody and literally burns to death. They kill Captain Boomerang, one of the stars of the first movie.
And by the reason they got rid of him too, in the polls, they took polls about what didn't work about the first movie. Everyone hated Captain Boomerang and his attitude in that first movie.
Which I find hilarious because I didn't mind him at all. He was a nice departure from the tone of the rest of the movie for me. But people hate Jack Courtney, so and I don't. A lot of people hate Jack Courtney, and whether or not that's justified, yeah, he's been in some stinkers.
Yeah, I felt bad for two individuals. I really felt bad for Flex. He did not know he was getting set up by
He
Waller.
didn't. Flag never knows, and that's what's sad. That's why his attitude changes throughout the film, which is a good plot point. There is a death that we glossed over in Team A that is sort of important. It's not really important, but it is something that matters. Javelin. Javelin dies right next to Harley, and his last words is to give his javelin to Harley, who hilariously slaps the shit out of him as he's dying. What are you giving me this for? What the fuck is the purpose of this? As he's trying to figure it out. And that is a plot point that stays through the whole movie. She's constantly going through her head. What was my destiny for this javelin? And it matters later, sort of.
And I appreciate Team A too because it was James Gunn saying, "Yeah, this is this is continuation of Suicide Squad, but we're not going to act like this happened. We know why Waller is mad at Rick Flag and why he's part of the Expendable team. We know why Waller hates Harley Quinn, but we're not going to say it out loud because yeah, we want to go in a different direction. So yeah, I appreciate him for that.
It was good. And so Team B, the real team, they show up and the rivalry immediately begins between Peacemaker and Bloodsport.
Yes, because they're basically the same characters, but just do it two different ways, and they try to one up each other because they think that they're the same but better. So
And
one at least one of them is better.
it's sort of true because
Hmm.
um, they start pretty much playing the Chronicles of Riddick game. Who's a better killer?
Yes. Hmm. Hmm.
And they try to one up each other. They had a small dialogue when they were first getting recruited in jail
Hmm.
about uh who's a better killer. And Peacemaker says, "I would shoot my bullets in your bullet holes," and they wouldn't
Right.
even touch the side because I use smaller bullets.
Right.
And what I love about this movie is everything, including that small piece of dialogue, matters.
Hmm.
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 So you move on, and they realize what they have to do, and they find out, yeah, oh, that other team is essentially gone.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Hopefully, they
Yeah.
bought us time to do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. 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 They actually didn't even know that there was another team.
Not
No,
at first, not
Yeah.
until
no,
Yeah.
Waller.
They didn't
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
they was
yeah,
like,
that's
"What
what
is
I mentioned earlier. Yeah, when the
what's
Yeah.
going on?
helicopter crashed and Mongo blew
Yes.
it up, and they said
Yeah.
the blood sport. We're like, what is that? Don't worry about it. That's your
What the
distraction.
fuck is that?"
Yeah. They didn't even know it was another team, so they just continued to continue to move forward. By the way, for you guys who don't know who Bloodsport is a villain who attempted to. Sorry, Bloodsport is a villain who attempted to assassinate Superman with bullets, forged of kryptonite. He mostly accomplished basically just sending him to the ICU. He was incarcerated and sent to Belle Reve, and Amanda Walker asked him to join the task force on a suicide mission in Maltese. He was second to strike. They was on the second strike team, as you guys know. He first refused, then didn't want to be on the team, but Waller threatened that he would never see his daughter again, or that they'll actually put his daughter in jail or prison or in Belle Reve if he doesn't go on this mission.
At the age
So
of 16.
yeah, at the age of 16. So him and his daughter really didn't have a relationship at this point. But I guess the little bit of good in him thought, well, I can't have my daughter in here because she'll probably just die. So yeah, so they
With
basically ended up.
supervillains.
Yeah, they're with supervillains. All she was in trouble for was stealing something. That's all she was in trouble for because didn't have any guidance in her life. She was basically in a girl's home, right?
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in a twisted way, he was trying to train her to be a villain like him,
Yes.
giving
Yeah.
her tips
Hmm.
about how not to
Giving her
get caught.
tips. And
Hmm.
that's why they argue, because she was like, "I told you I got in trouble for stealing, and you just giving me hints about how it should have went."
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
hilarious. The dynamic is good, but it's also realistic in the
Yes.
sense that, no, just because you have children, you do not always get along with them. You do
Right.
not always agree. Y'all have different points of view, and you fight sometimes. So
But also as a supervillain, are you supposed to get along with your kids?
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate that scene because the scene started for those thinking, "Oh, he's just dead shot and he has a daughter too," and then it just escalates like, "Oh no, this is not the same
immediately, it's
Batman."
Yeah.
not the same at all.
No, not the same at all. Yeah. And you also had Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man is a Batman villain, to be honest with you, an old Batman villain.
Polka Dot
Um,
Man is amazing.
he wears a he wears a costume covered in spots, which are different sizes and colors. And once they're removed from the costume, the spots are being used for a variety of purposes, such as deadly weapons, bizarre. They even escape vehicles. He could make them in escape vehicles. He didn't do it in this movie,
No,
but he actually succeeded in capturing Robin in the comic books, and then Batman defeated him. But he wasn't that big in the comic books, but in this movie they actually made him bigger than what he was. Period. So in this movie, his polka dots basically went through people and disintegrated them and stuff. And they actually had now the polka dots that came on his face, were those just a side effect of it, or was
side
those
effect.
just being created?
He
Yeah.
Yeah, his mother, who, which is highly hinted that he flipped out and killed, worked
Yeah.
at Star Labs and wanted to create superheroes, and that is
Yeah.
a side effect from injections that she gave him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easter
Which,
Yeah.
egg,
yeah,
Star
Yeah.
Labs,
because
Easter egg.
Yes. Yeah.
yep, and basically those polka dots not just disintegrate you, it messes your internals and everything up because it's supposed to teleport you to a different
Mm-hmm.
place, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It just break you down molecule
Mm-hmm.
by molecule.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't dispel them by the end of the night, those legions and tumors will overcome his entire body.
Yeah. So they show that off in the movie, so you can actually get a little bit of backstory on him too, more character development. One of the biggest hilarious things about him though is that for him to kill people, he pictures everybody as his mother, and it's a funny Easter egg, but also like I think he just sees people as his mother all the time because even
all
when
the
he was
time.
dancing in the club, he saw everybody as his mom. So it's
And,
pretty weird.
and that's his
What's a
psychosis.
what's a
He
Hmm.
peacemaker that called him Norman Bates?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
his psychosis is he relates everything to his mom, who was the source of his trauma, and the way it's seen visually based on James Gunn's direction, which I love. He literally turns these people into his mother, but
Yes.
they're still who they are. So you got like a
Yeah.
giant shark version of his
Yes.
mom,
Yeah.
and it's fucking hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like James Gunn's amazing when it comes to that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's crazy, and he says he's
Yeah.
the crazy one, and he's right.
Yes. Yeah. He is. Well, just because mentally is everything that he sees. And then we had John Cena playing Peacemaker, which was my favorite character in the movie, not
It's
just because of his
amazing.
comedic timing in the movie and his blatant sarcasm in the movie, but he just played him great. John Cena gives him some comedic value by also, in this movie, by asking funny questions. They had the millions of dick jokes or whatever.
Leader, you're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
Yeah, just to add on, not only does he kill for peace, he also does anything for peace. Anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what really scares me about him. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
So Peacemaker is exactly what he says. You know, he is. You get what you get with him, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that his motives and everything are never unclear. His actions and what he might be up to might be unclear, but he never lies through the entire movie. He never
Mm-hmm.
lies.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind. He says,
Mm-hmm.
"I will do anything to uphold peace. My mission is peace." And I will do anything to get it. So his
Mm-hmm.
belief system, he's basically a paladin at the end of the day. He's
Mhm.
chaotic. He's a chaotic character. He's a chaotic paladin. He believes in peace and he thinks he's chaotic good. Okay, but at the end of the day, his motives are he follows his own code and he'll do anything to maintain that code and to follow it. And he stays true to that through the entire movie.
Yep. And then we have Ratcatcher 2, which is Cleo Kazo and is a protege of Ratcatcher, which is funny because like, oh, you guys gonna get Ratcatcher 1. Under her dad's guidance, she turned into a life of crime while being aided by an army of small rodents, which she communicate and control with her little wand that she has. Um,
Speaking.
after she was arrested, she basically became part of that task force to go after Starro, and she basically formed a relationship. Uh, 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 was it like a dad-daughter relationship with Bloodsport almost?
More or
So that
less,
was
yeah.
a pretty good dynamic.
And that's
yeah,
wonderful too, because even from the trailers, you can misinterpret that as romantic, and they
Yes.
shy away from that completely. No,
Mm-hmm.
this is not romantic. This is mentorship. This
Mm-hmm.
is, like you said, almost like daddy daughter or uncle niece kind of thing. And I love it that they don't always shove romance in your face. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no, it don't have to always be that.
to
Right.
sum it up, she's the emotional core of the story.
Yep.
She's the
Mhm.
one that ties them together and pull out some semblance of decency
Yeah.
out of these guys.
Yeah, and I'm about to get into King Shark in a minute, but yeah, there was a part in the movie where King Shark basically tried to eat her while she was sleeping, and everybody got up was about to kill King Shark because they were like, "Oh, he can't be trusted." But she turned around and was like, "No," and asked King Shark, "Are you? Do you have friends? Would you eat your friends if you did eat your friends?" And King Shark was like, "No, I wouldn't." But and which basically brought the team together, even more because they, obviously they didn't trust each other. But
Mhm.
she was basically the heart of the group that made everybody trust each other and work with each other. And or Bloodsport liked working alone anyway, and well, Amanda Waller wanted to make him a leader. Period. So as his character growth development happened, he became more of that leader because of her, because of Ratcatcher too.
Now, before we leave that scene, that was hilarious when she used her wand, and you see Idris Elba scream so loud and high
Yes.
pitched.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Amanda Waller didn't know his phobia
Yeah.
was rats.
Yes, yes.
Every scene matters in the grand arch of the plot, which is something that I think is fabulous. That scene where King Shark tries to eat her is super important to the plot for two reasons. Reason number one, what you just mentioned, Ratcatcher, she uses her wand to sick him off with the rats, and we find out that he's definitely afraid of me. Like you said, he literally screams. Ah!
I
That's
did
hilarious.
not see that coming.
Second part that's super important that a lot of people are gonna miss is Bloodsport fires on King Shark. He doesn't shoot him with like no bullshit, no dummy round.
No.
He's shooting him
Right.
with bullets for real.
Right.
And it's knocking him on his ass, but it's not penetrating.
Penetrating.
That's
right.
super important to remember.
I
Because
have to
King
rewatch
Shark
that.
is bulletproof. King
Yes.
Shark is bulletproof.
Yeah, I have to rewatch that because I'm not sure if that was bullets because there was gold flashes whenever he shot him, like he was shooting him with the plasma rifle portion of his gun because he has that key-like gun. So I'm wondering if he was shooting him with the plasma because it was yellow.
Yeah, but whatever
It's
he was
kind of
shooting
like he was
with,
giving like a dog, like kind of giving a dog a correction,
Exactly.
basically. Yeah.
but it was his real. But that shit would kill people.
yeah.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, shit he's shooting him with was lethal rounds, you know,
Mhm.
and it's putting him on his ass, but he's getting up and he's not even bleeding. It shows you
Right.
King Shark's durability. That's
Right.
super important to
Right,
remember.
right.
So even it's just this small scene that could have been played for comedy in most movies, it made the core of the team's dynamic apparent because you find
Yes.
out the Ratcatcher is going to be the heart, like you said.
Yes.
And you find out how durable King Shark really is, and you
Right.
learn about his character, and you
Right.
learn that fucking Bloodsport's terrified of rats. It's hilarious.
Yes.
All in this small 5-minute scene.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
It's great
And
directing, man.
Right. And by the way, let's not forget about King Shark. King Shark is a metahuman criminal who first showed up in
King Shark
Superboy.
is a shark.
Yes. And he's basically a shark. Yeah, he's very sweet and endearing in this movie. He's slow, he's fat, he's a shark and he's always hungry. So, and that's probably why he tried to decide to eat them because his main motivation is basically to eat. Other than that, he is very sweet. He's very patient and everything too. It's just that he's hungry and nothing's going to stop him from eating. So, and that is important when it comes to this movie. When it comes to this movie later on in the plot too. So now we could go back to more of the plot. They are basically on this island after they had slept, and they went to go find first of all the other half of the team that got captured, and they went to go on the rest of their mission. They wake up in the next morning, they find this camp, and this is when Bloodsport and John Cena's character decided to go on a rampage, one-upping each other, and thinking that the people that they're killing are enemies, which at the end of the day find out that they're actually allies. So these are the rebels. They end up killing all the rebels in the camp, and the rebels are the people that are going against the cartel that is holding that is holding
Rick
the main
Flag.
villain Starro. Yeah, and Rick Flag is there.
Now I feel guilty. Rewind back a little bit. They get from Waller. His signal goes off. That's why they go to that jungle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they nursed him back to health. So
Yeah.
she said, "Mission change. Get him back by any means necessary." I felt
Right.
guilty after seeing that portion because I'm like, "Yeah, get him." And then they found out that they're the rebels. Like, oh.
It's hilarious
Because it was hilarious. Yeah.
It's played so straight. You at no point, once again, one of these is subverting the expectation. It's played so straight. You see these people, and we do not know that a rebel faction exists. We don't know this yet. We think that this is the enemy base because we saw Flag get captured. They come through like a wrecking ball. Okay, they running shit, especially Peacekeeper and Bloodsport, and they're basically playing off each other to see who's killing better. And it's hilarious watching this massacre shouldn't be funny, but it
Mhm.
is. Peacekeeper walks up to somebody laying on the bed and he stabs them with an axe like 16
Yes,
times.
16
It's
times. Yeah,
hilarious. Tap, tap,
yeah.
tap, tap, tap. And they
Mm-hmm.
no emotion on their face, nothing, because this
Mm-mm.
is what they do. And then
There
they
was
finally get to the main tent and Flash is sitting there laughing it up with her. Hey,
right.
hey,
Oh,
what's up, guys? How y'all
you
doing?
you missed the part with Peacekeeper. Remember,
Yes,
he shows no mercy.
At
Anyone can
all.
get it because he was sniping the women too.
yes. And he was like, and then he was like, show off. He or blood was it blood sport? He was
Mhm.
like, oh, you're just gonna show off now. He was like, oh, it's only showing off. It's if dope as fuck. That's what that nigga he was saying.
He,
It's
he
only
is
showing off if it's dope as fuck. Come on,
his
man.
bullets explode. He shot one
Yes,
guy in the shoulder and Bloodsport's
yes,
talking shit like, oh, you can only clip them. He's like, nah, bro, these bullets special. They explode and the
yes,
guy
yeah.
blows up in the background.
I
That's
And
give it
hilarious.
I give it to John Cena's comedic timing. So when they walked in
Yes,
the tent and they saw Rick Flag drinking coffee and talking with the
yes.
leader, and she's like, "How'd you get through my people? Where's everyone at? Did you see anyone out there?" And John Cena's like, "No,
Mm-mm.
no, I didn't
No,
see anyone
no,
out there."
nope.
see
Yep,
nobody.
yep. And then Polka Dot Man was like, "Yeah, we killed them all." Like,
No.
Yeah,
King Shark threw up
King
old
Shark.
boy's
oh,
tooth.
oh, oh yeah, yeah. No, he did that, but no, Polka Dot Man did say we killed them all.
Yeah, after King
Yeah, yeah,
Shark
yeah.
threw up
After
the
King
tooth.
Shark fed up. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
another thing that's pointed out, and it's been pointed out too before, it's not something that's really overly looked at, but it's something that you notice is Bloodsport's ability is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really ability, it's tech. He can generate his weapons basically from
Mm-hmm.
thin air with the technology, which is comic accurate too. He can, it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like a cache of weapons he can do. So instead of having to grab his gun off his waist, he got a tech and it'll turn into his gun or it'll turn
Yes.
into his shot, his sling and
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
constantly useful. And
Mhm.
it's a way to introduce that his abilities are one, very useful, and this is why he's here. And two, I am not Deadshot. I am
Yes.
something
Yes.
else.
Yes. But not only that, anything is pointed out. Anything he touches is a weapon. Same thing with old dude. With Peacemaker.
Peacekeeper.
Anything that they touch, they can use as a weapon. Period. Right. So there's even a point after they get captured. They all get captured. They all had one deadly move that they used on the cartel, and one was well, he was he distracted them with a cigarette, but they all had a move to basically kill them with being unarmed. Period.
And
Right?
let's not forget that Peacekeeper killed everybody with a blow dart. He killed at
Yes.
least 6 people with a blow
With
gun.
a blow dart. Yes. Yeah,
So
with a blow dart.
Good thing we
So
didn't mention his tidy whities.
oh yeah, that was awkward.
I'm going to mention that controversial statement. I mentioned it in the spoiler-free review. I'll mention it again. John Cena has the potential, in my opinion, to surpass The Rock as the greatest wrestler turned actor. Period. He just does. I feel like diversity-wise, he's better. So
He's in second right now to Batista because if you've seen some of his dramatic work in like Blade Runner and some of the scenes you see in Dune where he's doing a dramatic role, yeah, he has to catch up to Batista.
Batista's really good too. He, like you said, and then Batista did a lot of B movies that you may or may not have heard of, where he did good in those, and then he shows up in blockbusters. He'll be in a 007 movie, and so yeah, I agree. I think both of them, truth be told, as far as drama and ability to convey emotion, have surpassed The Rock a long time ago. He just get a bigger bags than they do because he
They've been
has
doing it
that
longer.
charisma and he's been doing
Yeah.
it longer, So, but I digress. That's neither here nor
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So after that, they end up going to rescue Harley Quinn, right? Because actually, let's go before they rescue Harley Quinn. So Harley Quinn was basically summoned to the cartel, or
President.
the leader of the cartel, the president, right?
Yeah, the president invited her over because the president looks like he had a bit of a crush on Harley. Now, I hope this is touched on later, but he had a crush on her because of her attitude towards the government and individuals in general, how she's so free will and will stand up to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's questions about how did this president, who just got done with a coup all the way across the world, knows about Harley Quinn specifically. What did she do between Birds of Prey and now that got her international attention? So pretty much they're talking about Operation Starfish. He wasn't going too much into detail, but went into enough detail. And at first, they hook up. Yep, this is R-rated, so they did the whole thing. But then the president did not know how to keep quiet because he was talking about went to the rest of his plans.
Mhm.
And due to Harley already being messed up from the Joker, she doesn't like red flags. Instead of breaking up with you, you die immediately.
You die immediately.
So she kills the president. The general of the coup
Yep.
becomes in charge, and she gets arrested.
hmm She kills him with an ancient gun too. That was in the room that happened to get unleashed based on their coitus. They were destroying the room that they were in, and this antique gun happens to fall out of its display because they were getting it in so vigorously. And this is the gun she uses to kill the president, and she didn't even know if it was gonna work.
Huh, it was loaded.
It was loaded. Shout out to Margot Robbie for her comedic timing as always. But yeah, I love that scene because it shows the growth of the character and that everything that happened to her in the past films happened and it matters and it stuck with her. I'm not doing psycho guys no more. I can't do this toxic relationship thing no more. And since I'm crazy, instead of just breaking up with you, you have to die. That's it. So
Mhm.
I'm with it.
So after that, the general takes her and wraps her up as prisoner because he's getting hints of Team B. Harley doesn't know that Team B is there, and the general's just torturing her over and over again, trying to get information out of her.
This is par for the course. This they don't mean nothing. This all you got. This all you guys got. Y'all gonna electrocute me, and she passes out. The general leaves and leaves the torturer there, and Harley shows that it's not. She's not really passed out. She very, very impressively chokes this guy out with a triangle choke and lifts him off the ground, kills him. And this is the coolest part about this scene to me. In an interview, they say that Margot, there was no stunt woman in this scene. That whole scene was her. From choking the guy, grabbing the key, lifting it up to her hands, and unlocking herself. That was all Margot Robbie that did that, and it was amazing. So wanted to point that out because James Gunn gushes over that in interviews that she really did it, and that he was hurt that the scene kind of showed her face covered up a little bit because he didn't want anybody to think that was a stunt woman, that it was actually her. So wanted to throw that out to anybody who didn't know. Yep, Margot did that whole scene herself.
And to that effect too, she spent 3 months for that next scene, practicing and rehearsing the hand-to-hand combat and the weapon training too for the gun scene also. And you explain. I like how you explained it to us. Take it away with that scene.
It's brilliant. It is a hand-to-hand combat scene in a DC movie that you can see. And that's not something that we get all the time, especially nowadays with the highly over-edited action scenes that we're used to, shaky cam, and you hear some punches and some kicks, and then next thing you know, people are on the ground. But this rectifies that problem. She very viciously dispatches of many henchmen with hand-to-hand as well as the javelin that she's been holding on to since she was blessed with this glorious purpose.
Yes,
She has no idea what it's for still. And then
Mhm.
she gets guns, and once the guns come out, she was already slaughtering these people. It's over. She gets the guns and she makes quick work of this whole militia that's coming after her with a very, very, very cool and artistic scene that we touched on briefly in the spoiler-free review because this is what she sees,
Mhm. Flowers.
Yeah, she's crazy. So
Flowers.
all this violence and destruction isn't gore and messy to her, and her brain is beautiful. It's
Mhm.
flowers, and
She's painting a picture.
just so happens that the wall is the palette and your brains is the paint.
Yep. Mhm.
So,
Yep.
but she eventually escapes on her own, and you find
Yeah.
out that Flag and the rest of Team B have decided to rescue her because Flag has grown as a character and she's family to him now.
Yes.
We don't leave one of our own behind. So they go to rescue her, and there's hilarious dialogue that ensues. Peacemaker's not with it, but They go anyway, and as they're getting ready to rescue her, she's in a cab. She's already free. She sees him. She goes up to him with this javelin still in her hand. It's hilarious.
Missed the funny part. Remember, they were scouting out the place, and it shows again. Thank you, John Cena, for your comedic timing. I got one. Let me know if I can take him out, and it's
Yes.
a maid. I'm
It's
like,
Yeah,
a
it's a
come
maid.
maid.
Yes.
It's just a maid. He's gonna shoot the maid in the face.
Yes. And then King Shark was like, and then King Shark saw a bird, and he was like,
Bird.
yeah, bird.
nom
And
nom.
then he was like, stay off comms. Like,
Nanaki, stay off the couch.
So yeah, so then they finally get back together. They decide that they're going to go after. They need to find out and how to get in to the tower that the enemies are in. So they ended up going to just go get the guy that's in charge, basically, and it's not the president because obviously he's dead, and it's not the general because the general is basically doesn't know all this is going on. It's the guy, the
thinker.
scientist, the thinker,
The thinker.
right? So they end up going to capture the thinker, and they find him in this club where they're going to have fun at. John Cena has this lovely all white, really tight lactose shirt on that I wanted. I was like, I would have looked that good in that lactose shirt, but it was hilarious because it was too small on him. So
tight ass polo on.
yes,
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought that. I'm so watching like he did not do this.
yeah, that
Oh,
was very, 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 very hilarious. But they end up finding him, and the cartel actually realized that the Americans were there, so they actually went to the club with them. Went into the club, and there was like, "Hey, we're up here looking for Americans." It was like, "Damn, we got the thinker here. We got to get rid of him." So they gave him to Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher 2 to get him out of there, while they sacrificed themselves, Bloodsport and the rest of the team sacrificed themselves like, hey, we're here, you could come get us. So they basically told Ratcatcher to go meet them at the
At the
rendezvous
coordinates.
yeah,
Yep.
at the coordinates, yeah. So this is when they get into the back of the police van, and they basically kill everybody to get out of there. It was hilarious because John Cena's character, or Peacemaker, he ended up killing the passenger, which ended up becoming a driver because he shot the driver in the back, right? And then through that hole, he pulled the passenger, who was banging his head on the back of the thing, and then he realized, oh man, there's nobody driving, so let me drive with two fingers to make sure that we get to the place we're supposed to go. They ended up rolling around, and the funniest part too is John Cena ended up holding to the side of the thing, so he didn't tumble, but everybody else was just tumbling, and he was just holding on to the side, and he ended up getting out of there. But it was hilarious. And then after that, they basically figured out how to get to the place, right? Because they ended up talking to the thinker, and the thinker basically let them know everything that they need to know. That scene, can you guys explain that scene when they were on the roof talking to the thinker and how hilarious that was?
I'll let you take this one, Aaron, because I got personalized license plates, so I can't speak on it.
Harley's being Harley and saying, if you do this, you die. You cough, you die.
Yes.
You sneeze the wrong way, you die. No. Nope. Don't listen to her, but that doesn't give you permission to cough or sneeze. But basically, they're trying to pump information. At this point, the synergy between the team is high because I don't think we mentioned this, but they did when they were drinking before they met the thinker. We found
Yeah.
out that Rick Flag and Bloodsport were on the same. They were on the same mission together. They're on the
Yes.
same. Yeah, they were both on the same squad in the military. So so they were kind of shocked when they saw each other. So we kind of left that part out and why they're good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they're explaining everything to the thinker and explaining to him how everyone that was backing you is dead. The president's dead. The general wants you dead. Why you still trying to thwart us? Just let us in, do our job, and you might make it out alive, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll throw you a bone too.
Yeah. And they basically that's what they did. They forced them in. They went in, they forced their way into the place. They ended up realizing that they're going to actually just blow the place up from the inside. So they got a whole bunch of bombs, sticky bombs, started from the bottom, going all the way to the top to try to destroy the place. Now, as they going in, the team kind of split up. King Shark ended up in an aquarium, seeing some really funny little jelly characters. I don't know if those are actually characters or not, but if this show was, or if this movie was not rated R, those would probably be the toys of the
Oh,
movie.
you skipped the best part when they
Oh, go
got
ahead,
there,
sorry.
the rain scene when they all came out and the army
Oh
was
yeah,
there before they got into the building, and the
yeah.
infamous King Shark scene where he rips them in half.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah. He rips the guys in half. Yeah. They basically fought their way in, and it to the best possible way that they could. Um, but yeah, no more blood and more rain, so they had to hide some of that blood. So, but yeah, so they ended up getting inside, planning a whole bunch of explosives. And then we get to the real plot of the movie, as they find out from, I think they find out from Starro, or no, they find out from the Thinker
Thinker.
that this was actually America's plan, because America caught Starro to try to use him to win a war, right, or something like that, but it just went left, right?
Turn them out as a weapon, just like
Yeah,
anything.
turn him as a weapon. Yeah,
Same thing as us. You know, Task Force X, they want to turn villains into a team that they can use for their own purpose. Same thing. We want to
Yeah.
use this alien so we can control people and
Yeah.
do what we do. American standard, you know, it's
Right.
to be expected.
Yeah.
but
And
before that, Peacemaker. Before we got to that part, Peacemaker started to show his true colors because he broke off from the person he was assigned to and just disappeared.
Yeah.
Then the Thinker started explaining the double cross there to
Yeah.
Rick Flag.
Yeah.
cool.
But the
Mm.
Peacemaker really did what he was supposed to do. It's just that when they decided that Red Flag decided that he wanted to show this to everybody because he felt betrayed because he was in the military. He felt betrayed that he was fighting for nothing, kind of like how Captain America is. He was like, "Nah, man, I can't let you take that drive." Peacemaker was like, it's the mission. I have to keep the peace. If you let this out, this is going to start chaos. And because I believe in peace, I can't let you go
And
with
you
that.
find out why he's there because Waller's handpicked it.
Yep.
Handpicked him for this purpose to make sure that this information doesn't get out, because
Yep.
if it does, then it will be a threat to peace, and that's all she has to say to him. So
Yep.
now Flag and Peacemaker are at odds over this disc, over this data,
Yep.
and they have a drag out, visceral, no non-superheroic extra. No, they are scrapping.
Yes.
Okay, they are booming it out.
Meanwhile, the building's blowing up already
Early.
because of an accident that happened earlier with what's his name, Bloodsport, right? So because of that accident, the place is already blowing up and they're fighting in the middle of
Bloodsport
it in the
tried to
basement.
stop it. It was Polka Dot
Polka
Man. but
Dot
he-
Man.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Polka Dot
He
Man.
was thinking he hit the charges,
Yes.
and charges are going up. Bloodsport's
Mhm.
Meanwhile, while Peacekeeper and Flag are fighting, Bloodsport and Harley and Polka Dot Man are running, trying to jump from one part of the building to the other because this part is falling off.
Mhm.
They managed to land and safely. Bloodsport's falling from level to level like Mortal Kombat, and barely surviving when he's falling. And in the meantime, Peacemaker is getting the better of Flag because, quite frankly, he is superior
better.
physically.
Right. And he ends up killing Flag. He
Yeah, as I
kills
said, not
Flag.
getting got the better
Yeah.
of Flag.
Yes, yeah. He killed him, and he stabbed him with, was it a piece of glass or a piece of metal through the heart?
It was a piece of glass from the toilet that he had went
Oh
through.
yeah.
of course.
And there was no doubt about it. In case
Mm-hmm.
in case you were thinking, oh, it's Flag. Let's go ahead and Mortal Kombat X-ray in on that joint and show that was through the heart. Flag's out of there.
Yep. So
and I was like, wow, wasn't expecting that.
Ratcatcher 2 saw that, and then she was like, yeah, I'm still going to take this drive. You're not going to stop me. But he ends up catching up to her and says, look, I'm sorry. Peacemaker was like, I'm sorry I had to do this, but you got to die because you're getting in the middle of my piece too. That's when Bloodsport comes down, and he's still going down like Mortal Kombat, lands right in front of Peacemaker. And Peacemaker and Bloodsport look at each other, and they're like, "Look, I'm sorry, I gotta do this. And he was like, no, I got a relationship with a little girl. I told her I was getting out of here. I was getting her out of here. Bloodsport was like, I'm not letting you do this. And they both shot the gun and because do you want to say something before I say that?
Yeah, it goes back to
Okay.
what Tess said.
Right at
Yes.
the
Remember
beginning.
Yes, in the
everything.
beginning. Yeah, remember everything that they said. Bloodsport used a smaller bullet to go through what's the name's bullet? I keep wanting to call him Justice. Peacekeeper's bucket.
Peacemakers.
Peacemaker's bullet, and it basically kills Peacemaker, right? Just because he used smaller bullets. Yep. So that's the end of Peacemaker for now. And he shot him in the neck, right?
Yep.
Hit him in the neck.
Hit him in the neck. So that plot point is basically done, and now they basically have to go against Starro because Starro is still here, and Starro's out, and Starro wants to take over this city like he's Arrow. So
Although
I think that was an Easter egg for Arrow too.
I give it to James Gunn. You killed a major Flash villain. The Thinker
Yeah.
was his one of the main villains outside of
Yes.
Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's guts, buddy.
Yeah.
Lots of
he had
guts.
Starro kill Thinker because Starro was mad at Thinker because he thought he was his right hand man, but Starro was like, "Hey, you brought these people here to kill me. Like that's
Not only that,
unacceptable."
Starro remembers he tried to manipulate Starro. He was
Yeah.
running the show for 30 years. He was the one abusing him and poking and prodding him and
Mhm.
attaching many Starros on the humans.
Mhm.
Which and to point out too about the mini Starros, not to be misconceived, these are not his children, they're extensions of himself.
Mhm.
So each one of those Starros has his joint consciousness, which is why he can take over people's mind and speak through them. So
Yes.
anytime one of those little Starros dies, he feels it.
Mhm.
So this is 30 years of these Starros getting stabbed and poked and prodded and tortured. He's felt all of this all this time. So this is why he's pissed off at the Thinker. You've been torturing me for 30 years, you
Mhm.
know? And he basically King Sharks him
Mhm.
in Rip Civil part. Bye
Right.
Doctor Who.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Peter
So-
Capaldi.
Mhm. Yeah.
you know, Starros going on a raging rampage. Waller, everybody, the team gets back together. Who's left? Waller
Mhm.
goes on the comm. Well, mission complete, guys. You did exactly what I told you to do. I didn't ask y'all to go stop this thing. I said y'all to stop the government, and it's in disarray. He's going to destroy that country. Probably y'all come on home. And they like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah, it was like what? It was like, well, they were going to turn around and do it, but then they decided that they were going against that because people were actually dying. Like they were innocent people that were dying, and there is a little bit of good in them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they weren't there to kill people. They don't kill people for no reason, or watch people watch people die. And also, if you let Starro take over here, what's stopping him from taking over the world? To be honest with you,
That's a Justice League level event there.
yes, that
it
is a
is.
Justice League level event.
And
So
if you're a comic head, you go to the early Justice League comics. That is one of the first major threats that the
Yeah.
Justice League combated was Starro.
yes, yeah. So they decided to go fight Starro in their way, right? Amanda Waller ends up getting knocked out by one of her teammates because she was about to kill him. She was about to press the button on him.
That's
So-
the most F-bombs I've ever heard Viola Davis dropped within the 1 to 2 minutes. It's wow.
Mhm.
It was big.
Yeah. So they ended up going after Starro. Starro had his little zombie minions. He was just going through destroying stuff, and they just made sure. Not that they made sure. They went in and fought him the best as they could. He was destroying King Shark for a minute. He destroyed the Polka Dot Man. No, Polka Dot Man actually did a pretty good job in destroying his legs a little bit with his polka dots.
Bloodsport, that's your mother. Picture
Yes,
as your mother.
It's your mother. Yeah, this is when Bloodsport actually became a leader and started going and telling everybody what to do. He told Harley Quinn to go up top with her javelin so she could try to go and stab him when he gives the signal. Harley Quinn ended up opening the eye, and then old girl came out with her
The
rats,
most
and
disgusting part of the
yes, of the
entire
whole entire
movie.
movie, right? With the rats, she was like, "No, this is the Starro. This isn't your city. This is their city." And I'm over here thinking that she's about to go bring out the cartel or whatever. I thought the cartel was about to come and help. No, the rebels. Sorry, the rebels was coming to help. No, she brought out millions of rats. Mil-
Man, and
Millions of
they're
rats.
all over Bloodsport. He's
Yeah.
freaking out because he's
Yes.
horrified. He's under
Mm-hmm.
him, and she's
Mm-hmm.
protecting him. And all of these disgusting creatures
Mm-hmm.
attack Starro. They go in
Mm-hmm.
his eye.
In his eye and start eating out his brain and
Oh my
everything, and just
god,
basically kill Starro from the inside.
carnage! It is beautifully disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I can see
Yeah.
Superman. Oh, no, I have to go here. All right,
Yep.
I'm going back.
Yeah. So they basically end the movie with that. The only two that, well, the only team, the part of the team that survived, and you think Polka Dot Man died too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
'cause he
got
said, I
crushed
Yeah.
did it. Dunk.
Yeah, and he got crushed, right?
as he
So.
wanted to because he wanted to
Mm-hmm.
die. So that's
Mm-hmm.
cool for him. But you even feel bad for Starro for a brief second too, because as he's dying, he transmits the message. All I wanted to do was just look up at the stars. I was just floating in
Mm-hmm.
space when they took me, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want none of this. So you like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of bad, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's basically the Suicide Squad movie. It was a great movie. I think that um, the plot was good. I mean, like I said, the plot was basically get in there and destroy and everything, but the plot was good. The character development was amazing, which made the whole movie within itself. Um, even though they did have Starro as a villain, and he wasn't as big as he usually is in the comic books, it still was a good villain, or a good protagonist of the movie, good enough for them to actually get together and fight.
And
Yeah.
they left it
So.
open if they want to continue in the DC universe, because then the news reports Task Force Task Force X is no longer a secret. They're all
Mm-hmm.
over the news because even
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport's daughter's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
yep. So Waller's in trouble.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
because they're in the wind. Bloodsport and
Yes.
King's and Harley, they are not back in Belle Reve. They are in the wind. So they have the potential to do whatever they need. And now we can get into in credit territory. With that being said, who else is in the wind?
Yeah.
we first in the credit was no, was it no, first in the
First
credit
one.
was it's to Jacob's delight.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you aim for the heart because Peacemaker is alive and it sets
Mm-hmm.
up for the new HBO Max show, which is 10 episodes, early 2022, written and directed by James Gunn.
Thank goodness.
Is it a
Mhm.
Peacemaker show?
Yeah,
Peacemaker show.
Oh.
he,
Oh.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That end credit scene came last minute because he got bored and wrote the entire show during COVID-19 because he had nothing to do, and decided to film the end credit scene that quick.
Yeah. And Peacemaker did not die. He got shot in the neck and he survived that. So he will be returning.
And Tez, why did I say that Pete Davidson was the second? It was the
Be-
first to die.
because you see Weasel drown, you think he's the first person, but the end credit scene shows he did not drown. He survived. He coughs up water and he runs off into the distance. Very, very, very creepily, I might add. He's fucking creepy, bro.
Remember, he's in jail for eating children.
Eat
Yes.
27.
Yes.
Okay. This is
Mhm.
not okay. We need to take him out. Somebody needs to take this thing out. But yeah, Weasel's still alive and Peacemaker's still alive. So we
Mhm.
will see them again.
So if the question is Suicide Squad 2 or the Suicide Squad movie is good, yeah, it's good. It's a really good movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
See it.
I would give it a 8 out of 10, and the only reason I would give it an 8 out of 10 was because of the flaws that I said in my non-spoiler one, is that a lot of these characters that are being used aren't memorable, or a lot of them, a lot of people aren't going to recognize if you're a casual fan. If you're a hardcore comic book fan, you'll recognize all of these. But these are characters that you're basically going to have to look up if you're a casual fan to even get to know them, and they're probably not even that interesting for you either after you look them up.
What
Yeah,
you give it, Aaron?
I give it a 9 out of 10 because I wanted to wait till after the spoiler to get into my nitpick. It's DC blowing their load early again. You got rid of Starro, which is a Justice League level event.
Huge event.
And I'm convinced now that Flashpoint is going to wipe everything out because you don't kill the Flash secondary main villain like that, and not even
Mhm.
go into backstory or even how he got there. So,
Right.
yeah, you don't do that.
Mhm.
Other than
I'm
that, the movie's great.
I'm doing something out of pocket for me. I'm giving it a 9 too.
Mhm.
And to touch on, I agree with getting rid of the level threats. You know, like this, they should have at least had a little hint. Oh, maybe one of the little starfish survive or something in the background, which might still have some potential for later on because Starro's too big of a villain to just destroy. You know, so early on. But touching on the villains who nobody knows for the more casual characters. Thing about it is this: 90% of these new villains that nobody knows die.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
doesn't matter. You don't have to
Right.
look him up because he's dead. You know,
Mhm.
with the exception of Bloodsport and you know, like Ratcatcher,
Mhm.
you know, people know King Shark because of the Flash TV show.
Mhm.
He was in, you know, a couple of the Suicide Squad animated movies and stuff
Harley
like that.
Mhm.
Quinn.
He's in Harley Quinn, which is a wonderful TV show for anybody who hasn't watched
Mhm.
it. Pick it up when you get a chance.
Mhm.
Um, and then, you know, Peacemaker's getting ready to have a show, so you'll learn more about him. And something that James Gunn does, we talked about this in the spoiler-free review, is he takes characters nobody knows. Who knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy was 10 years ago? Nobody.
Nobody. Right.
Unless you
And,
was a comic book head, nobody knew who they were.
Right.
Nobody who
Yeah,
knew who
yeah.
Star-Lord was.
and
And
he went deeper in the hole because he didn't even pick the original lineup.
nope, he
Mhm.
picked the second team. And the
Mhm.
original team, he put them as background characters because they're Ravagers,
Yes. Mhm.
which is awesome, which is
Yeah.
something you would have no clue of if you didn't read the books. But he
Mhm.
made these people mainstream stars with these offshoot characters that nobody knew or cared about
Nope.
outside of the hardcore fandom. And he's doing this again with these characters. It's just
Mhm.
half of them die.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that's cool. Nobody knows who Savant is. Okay, we'll kill him.
Mhm.
You know.
And, and like I said, it goes back to creative control. Get out of the way. If the movie flops, then it's on that person who wrote and directed. If the
Yep.
movie flops and the studio interferes, the studio's going to take the heat. You don't want
Right.
that.
Mhm.
Right.
Let your person that you pick live by the sword, die by their sword, not yours.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll end it there. But thank you guys for watching. And if you are new here, subscribe. If you like our content, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and comment. We answer questions in next videos or in the comments if you guys have them. It helps the channel out just by you watching and liking the show. So we thank you again. This is Tez. That is Aaron. We are the Anti Villains. See you later.